Hello guys and welcome to my channel Tech Infinity. Today I have AKASO v50x with me. I thought let's review this particular camera because this has been making all the right kind of noises in the market currently. So here it is and let's get started. So guys, this is how the camera comes. The camera comes mounted over here at the top, but the current camera setup does not allows me to do that. So I've kept it here. This is the cover. The camera comes here and then the box. So this is how the box is. Let's jump here. This camera comes with a lot of accessories. In this box, the accessories are there. So let's get onto the accessories first and then we'll come back to the camera, because as of now we don't need to check that out. I'll tell you all about the camera as well. So here are the accessories which comes in the box: a USB cable, 3M tape, zip ties, bike mount. You can mount this one on your handlebar, cleaning cloth and some more mounts, helmet mount. There are two. One I have already mounted on my helmet. Again, this is for the helmet mount. This is for the tripod. Use this one to mount the camera on a tripod. Yep, some more mounts and an additional battery. One is already there in the camera. So this is the battery. This is 1350 milliamp hour. So some straps. Yep, here we have the remote. It works pretty well. You don't need to connect this remote to the camera. This is already paired with the camera, so all you need to do is switch on the camera, press these buttons, and it will do the functions. You can record and snap photos. So that's how it works. Another case, this case you can actually use as a backup case when you want to record an audio. So you can replace this frame with this one, and this has these holes cut out. So this one will give you better audio recording, but again this will not remain waterproof when you're using this case. This is only waterproof with this particular case. So this is one. What else do we have? Yeah, so this is the charger. You can charge both the batteries at the same time. This is how you can connect it. So just put the battery in, put the other one in. They light up red when the battery is charging. There are two LED indicators, if you see over here. So they light up red, and when the charge is completed they light up blue. So that's how you know the batteries are charged. So this is how it comes. What else is the box? This some card says AKASO Go Club or something, and there are some benefits with it. So this is all which comes in the box. Let's keep the box aside. Let's keep this over here, and let's keep this aside. Let's get back to the camera. So this is the camera, guys, and this is the waterproof casing which comes with it. Let me remove it quickly from the casing and we'll talk about the camera. So here it is. It's pretty tiny, guys. Believe me when I say tiny, I mean this much. You see, it's very tiny. So I will give you a quick overview about this camera now. Here's the power button, power on off button, and you can also access menu with this button. Here's our camera lens. There is a lot of confusion about the camera lens because the box here says 12 megapixel. If you guys can see this, it says 12 megapixel, but trust me guys, this camera is a 20 megapixel camera, and this can do 20 megapixel still photos as well as the recordings. So, and over here we have the SD card slot. So here I have already put an SD card in there. So how to put the SD card in there? Just put it here and push it in till you hear a click sound. Here you have a mini HDMI port, you have a micro USB port. This is the 2-inch TFT touchscreen display. Here are the volume. It's not exactly volume up and down keys. What it does is I'll tell you later. Here we have a speaker. Yes, this camera has a speaker. This LED light turns on when you turn on the Wi-Fi of this particular camera. It keeps blinking until you connect a Wi-Fi or I mean when you connect till the time you connect your phone to it, so it will keep blinking. This is the shutter button, this is the microphone of this camera. When we turn this camera around here, this is for that tripod mounts I showed you. And this one is the battery compartment. I have already put the battery inside because I've been using this camera a lot. So this is the overview of this camera, guys. The build quality feels solid because it gives you some rubberized feeling when you touch it, and feels solid. It's pretty tiny but feels solid. So let's jump right into the camera and switch it on. Here it comes to life. It has some weird tones which I have already switched off. It says SD card full because I've already used it a lot. It makes some weird noises when you start it up, so I've already switched all of that off. So this is how the UI looks: battery, microphone, SD card, the time left for the recording. So this is the albums. I've already used it a lot, as I mentioned, so it's full. And here's the video mode, which says 4K 30 FPS currently. Here are the settings. These are the resolutions available when you want to record in 4K, or I mean when you want to record. These are the available resolutions for video recording. And yeah, I'll show you all of them. I'm scrolling through slowly, as slow as I can, so that you guys can see all the available resolutions which are there on this camera. When you go back, image stabilization, yeah, it works pretty well. The camera is on the latest firmware, just to let you know. Or if your camera is not on the latest firmware, you won't get this image stabilization option, and there will be only gyroscope. And the gyroscope is actually the image stabilization if you are not on the latest firmware. So that's how it is, guys. Just be careful about it. Update your camera to the latest firmware, because that will enable a lot of options which are missing actually in the previous firmware. So let me just show you the settings, gyroscope, and then these are all the settings, guys. I'm not going to go through in detail with these settings, but this is the one which is the most important one. As I mentioned, my camera is on the latest firmware. This is why I have this option which says external microphone. Yes, this camera does support external microphone when it is on the latest firmware, but you need to buy the external microphone separately. That is one of the big problem that is there. You need to buy that from AKASO particularly. If you don't buy it from AKASO, then the microphone will not work with this particular camera. So that is one of the big thing which is there with this camera. You need to buy it on AliExpress. If you are in the US, you can buy it on Amazon. It is available now on Amazon as well. So yeah, when you want to do audio recording, you need to switch this on. And if you have an external mic, this is what you need to switch on. These are all the settings. Some people also asked what are the AKASO settings available. So here they are. It's between 100 to 800. Then white balance meter and color. Let's jump into the camera settings. This is the one for the resolution. See over here, it says 20 megapixel, whereas on the box it says something different. Here 12 megapixel. I don't know what is the problem, why they say 12 megapixel on the box and the camera says 20 megapixel. So I'm really not sure what happened there, why there's a conflict between the people who have made this box and who have made this camera. I'm not sure, guys. So these are the available resolutions on which you can capture a still photo. Then again, all those normal settings which are available, here they are. I'll not go in deep with these settings because a lot of people have already shown them. So I would just quickly give you an overview and talk about the important things that nobody else has been talking about. So this is the volume option. You can fiddle around with the volume because there is a speaker. And then ketone, this is the boot tone that I've already switched off. Distortion calibration. Yeah, so what distortion calibration will do is it will reduce the fisheye effect, but if you switch on the distortion calibration, it will switch off your electronic image stabilization. So that is one thing that you guys need to keep in mind. And let's move on to the angles now. These are the available angles in which you can record 170° to 70°. These are all the available angles which are there. And then there's driving mode, there's wide dynamic range mode, there's auto power off, screensaver, language, date format. Yeah, in this one you cannot switch off the date and timestamp here. There is a particular setting here, date and timestamp. This is the one where you can switch off the date and timestamp, and then all the basic settings. So this is the firmware which my camera is on. Make sure your camera is on this particular firmware so that you get all the settings which I have showed you just now. Now let's get back, and if you want to switch between the modes, you can just swipe. It will go to the photo mode. If you again swipe, it will come back to the camera mode. And now a lot of people had questions how to switch on the Wi-Fi of this a particular camera. Even I have tried switching on the Wi-Fi for this particular camera and I was failing at it. And the biggest problem I faced was even the AKASO's user manual is not correct. So basically the user manual which comes in the box says download the Roadcam app and then you can connect your phone to the camera. That's all it says. And then there are no other instructions on that particular manual. So what you need to do is you need to go to the AKASO's website to download the manual. And if you do that, it says press and hold this particular button, the up button, for 3 seconds to switch on the Wi-Fi. Let's do that. Yeah, as you see, the camera starts zooming in, which is not the correct thing. The correct thing is press this button just once. Here, the Wi-Fi is turning on. So this is how you switch on the Wi-Fi. There are two ways to switch on the Wi-Fi. First is if you can swipe down, it will switch on the Wi-Fi. And then the other way, as I already mentioned. So this is how you switch on and switch off the Wi-Fi of this particular camera. And guys, you need to download the Roadcam app. The name of the application is Roadcam. It says over here as well. If you're not sure, this is the app you need to download. It works with both Google and it works with both Android and Apple. So you can get the app. It's free. And what else was there to show? I guess I've already told you all the things about this camera, but there is one thing, guys, and this one is quite major that I wanted to talk to you about. So this camera, as I mentioned, people say it's you can use it for motovlogging. There's one big problem with it. As you know, when you use this camera with EIS on, what it does is it crops into the image, and that actually takes a lot of field of view that you have without EIS. So when you're doing you're trying to do a motovlogging, mount this on your helmet and go for a ride, it will not record the road and the speedometer at the same time unless you have a big bike. For say you have an R3, you have a Ninja, you won't find any problem. If you have a compact bike like CB300R, you will face problem. It won't be able to record the speedometer as well as the road at the same time. It has that problem because it crops into the image. You need to switch off the Wi-Fi. You need to switch off the electronic image stabilization to make sure it captures both the road and as well as the speedometer. And that is also a big problem because then you will lose all your stabilization which is available. So I'm not sure how you're gonna counter that, but yes, actually you can stabilize the images later on while editing. If you have Adobe Premiere Pro or there are multiple tools which can actually stabilize your images after and the videos after you have taken the recordings. So that is something that you'll have to rely on instead of this camera, because with stabilization I'm not sure if it works pretty well. I will have to test it more because as of now I have an Apache RTR 180 which is pretty compact, and even the speedometer is pretty close to the rider's face. So even with your eyes you cannot see it when you're riding the bike, and if you want to see the speed, it's a bit difficult. You need to take your eyes off from the road and then you can see the speedometer. So that is one thing which is there. So I guess that's how the camera is working too. So I need to figure out ways. But if you use the chest mount, you will have no problem. But again, you need an external microphone if you're using the chest mount with this camera. So that's all, guys, that's all I wanted you guys to know about. So let's directly jump onto the samples that I've clicked. I'm not going to show you all the samples with all the resolutions which are available for this camera. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the samples. One is in 4K 30 FPS with EIS, and one is in 4K 30 FPS without EIS, so that you guys can get an idea how this camera records. And these are raw footages, unedited. I've just added those to this clip, and you guys can see them now.